guys, welcome back. This is Julia from Dormco, and today we're going to be talking about how to make an amazing college study group. So I'm going to start out with a little disclaimer. I am by no means a psychology major. I don't have actually a professional expertise in this. I'm actually a business major, but I did take an educational psychology class last semester, which was kind of my inspiration in making this video. I thought it was just a really interesting class, and we talked a lot about this subject. Plus, I have a lot of experience from my first semester in just making study groups for my first times tackling really challenging courses. So, without further ado, let's get started. Number one is obviously the people that are in your group. A lot of the time when you enter a class and you want to make a study group, it's really hard to find people unless you already know someone going into the class. But a good way of making connections is by sitting towards the front of the class within the first few weeks of school. Now, if you're midway through the semester like me watching this is still totally something you can do. Just try to sit up in the front of the class and try to talk to the attentive students up front, or the ones who simply seem to be understanding the material the most, and reach out to them for help. I know that this can be intimidating for a lot of people because they feel like they don't know as much as those kids, but you never know. There might be a concept that you understand that the other person that seems really smart in that class might not even understand at all. So it's all about approaching people and finding good individuals for your group. Number two, try to keep the group between 3 and 6 people. 3 to 6 is usually a pretty good number, and science actually proves this as well. We talked a lot about it in my ed psych class, and it was pretty interesting to learn about just how we interact as people. Number 3, try to make a schedule for when you're going to meet with your group. This can be really challenging. I get it. I have such a busy schedule, but sometimes that works for other people too. We get it. We're all in college. We're all crazy busy people. But if you can try to come up with a set time at least once a week or maybe once every 2 weeks to meet with those selected people in your group, this can be an awesome way to connect. Plus, it'll give you something to look forward to each week, because study groups don't have to just be boring where you just show up, do the work, and go home. I mean, you usually have conversations with people. So it's, aside from being good for your grades, it's also really good for you socially because you're getting to know new people. Number 4 is GroupMe or group message, group chat, whatever you guys use to communicate within groups. Try to make a group chat with all the individuals in your study group so that you can interact with each other, and so if somebody falls behind or something like that, you can be understanding and just communicate with them and say, hey, that's okay, we can change up our assignments within the group. Which leads me to point number 5, which is about setting accomplishable tasks within your group. Now, this is the hardest part because it's kind of like you have to assign a mini job to everybody that's in the study group, but studies show that this is the most efficient way of doing it, and plus it holds everyone accountable to something. So for example, you can have a couple tasks like having someone who goes to a tutor and asks questions, or someone who goes to office hours and asks the professor specific questions that the group might have. So setting group tasks can be a really good way of getting around this problem and making everyone kind of feel comfortable but still responsible for something within the group. Number 6 is finding a productive yet cozy place to work. I feel like if you're in just a library, sometimes that can be a little bit draining. I know that, for example, our library is very dark and gloomy, and sometimes I'm in there in the middle of the day and I walk out and I barely remember that there's still daylight outside. So try to find somewhere that has a lot of natural light. Maybe there's a little study deck somewhere, or there's a coffee shop that you all agree on that you like. This can make for a really good location, and that way it gives everyone a set location that they have to go to and something that they can expect every single time that they show up to the study group. And tip number 7 is both the easiest and the hardest tip for making a good college study group, and that is be understanding. You're gonna get more comfortable with the people that are in your study group the longer that you guys meet. And sometimes it can be really hard or really frustrating when someone is not carrying through with their tasks, but just try to be there for that person and show them that you're understanding while still holding them accountable for the tasks within your group. And I promise that your study group is going to go great. So these are just a couple of the tips that I personally use when making a study group, but I would love to hear y'all's input and learn some of the other tips and tricks that you guys use when working with people in college. Please feel free to comment them down below. I will be reading and responding to as many of them as I can, and I'm just really excited to see you guys in my next video. Bye!